The Pacific Northwest is getting hit for a third straight day with record-setting triple-digit temperatures. The heat wave is straining capacity in the region and forcing people to find relief wherever they can. Stephanie Sy reports from Oregon.
Another day, another record-breaking high across the Pacific Northwest. In Portland, Oregon, temperatures hit 108 degrees on Saturday, then 112 on Sunday. Today, highs were expected to reach 115. In Ashland, Oregon, people and their pets took shelter at a cooling center, offering air conditioning and cold water.
I think it's a public health emergency.
Mayor Julie Akins warned the heat can be deadly.
The most vulnerable in this heat wave are the most vulnerable all the time, and the heat wave exacerbates that, right? So we're talking about unhoused people. We're talking about people living below the poverty line who either don't have air conditioning in their homes or who are fear running their power because they can't afford the high power bills.
Excessive heat warnings are in effect across Oregon and Washington state, as well as parts of California, Nevada, Idaho, and Montana. The National Weather Service estimates temperatures are up to 30 degrees higher than they normally would be at this time. Scientists believe human-driven climate change increases the odds and intensity of more extreme heat waves. Meanwhile, utility companies face soaring demand, leading to power outages for thousands. Many homes in the region don't have air conditioning at all.
This breaker right here runs most of the power to the trailer.
Alan Shepard does have air conditioning in his RV where he lives with his grandkids, but it's been unreliable since the weekend.
We let the kids run down to the showers and take showers, and it cools them off for a little while. We do have AC, but when it gets so hot, it breaks the breakers.
Shepard has lived in the RV since his mobile home burned down in a wildfire last September. Now, some of the same dry conditions, coupled with the unprecedented heat, are dredging up familiar fear for folks like Charlie and Lenore Shively, who also lost their home to a wildfire last year.
We've been discussing that amongst ourselves, building back in a wildfire area. It's like a whole year and a year and a half or two could go by and the same thing could happen. And so it's like we're in our 70s and it's like, let's start over again.
And Stephanie joins me now from the city of Ashland in southern Oregon. Stephanie, it's good to see you. Just fill us in a little bit more on the picture about what you're seeing there on the ground, the impact of these extraordinary temperatures.
Well, Amna, we're at the epicenter of what is the most intense heat wave in this region in recorded history. It is 109 degrees here in Ashland, Oregon. It's reached its peak. I've been out here for about 25 minutes and I can feel my heart starting to race. And it's not just here. This heat dome is covering much of the western United States, all the way up into Canada. And the fact is, people here are just not prepared for this. They're not equipped for it. About 2/3 of Oregon households have air conditioning. That's 1/3 that doesn't have it. And in Seattle, those households are even fewer. So we are seeing a lot of people trying to find cool places to be right now in this extreme heat.
Steph, we see you're standing there across the street from a fire station. How are the authorities coping? How are officials handling all this?
Well, what they're doing is they're standing up cooling centers throughout the state, at libraries, at convention centers, where people who don't have AC can seek relief. And we have seen people go through there. And just to emphasize how dangerous this heat can be, we did hear of one man with a developmental disability that showed up at the cooling center here in Ashland last night with symptoms of heat stroke. He did have to be hospitalized, was released, and had to stay in shelter. But it's the unhoused people that they're looking the most carefully at, that they're concerned about. They are the most vulnerable. You see that economic disparity. People that have a little bit more money are booking hotels. Hotels are booked out in this area for people seeking relief for the next couple of days.
Steph, of course, as we've reported before, and we all know there's a difference between weather and climate. We are talking about these extreme temperatures right now, but what does that mean about the larger and longer term concerns for folks out there?
I mean, this current weather pattern, Amna, is just one aspect of what state officials here in Oregon have deemed a climate crisis. This state is extremely scarce of water right now. They're in the middle of a 20-year drought, as is much of the western United States. Not to mention that we're at the beginning of wildfire season. And a year ago, wildfire season here in Oregon was devastating. Towns were lost. Homes were lost. We interview people today that are still living in RVs in those parks without homes rebuilt. So they're still recovering. Firefighters here are really hoping that they don't see any new sparks of wildfires during this extreme heat wave, which isn't supposed to lift until Tuesday. We can look at any one weather pattern and say there are a lot of factors that contributed to it, but without any prompting, several officials that we spoke to do point to human-caused climate change, and they see this as an example of an alarm bell ringing in a cacophony of alarm bells here in Oregon, and that climate needs to be addressed, that the warming trend needs to be reversed with immediate action. That's what we're hearing.
It's a disturbing trend for sure, and worrying conditions on the ground. That is Stephanie Sy braving 109-degree heat to bring us that report from Southern Oregon. Stephanie, good to see you. Please stay safe.
Thank you.